January 1930. Once upon a time. This is the epilogue. You can spend as much time as you want here examining things, and I think it took me like 2 hours, and looking at Jennifer's comments on them, um, I think it took me about 2 hours when I did my long play, but here I'm just gonna do the really significant ones. The deal with this is that you can actually just go out into Brown Shed and like end the game, which is ultimately what you have to do anyway. But you're really supposed to just keep looking around here, and she'll explain a lot of what everything means. Jennifer found once upon a time. Once upon a time. Wait, let's do this a little slower. And the Little Princess chapter should have been updated a lot. Equip the axe. You can't do it as a little girl. Eat. You can't do that. The Little Princess. Once upon a time, there was a precious little girl. Her friend, the Princess of the Red Rose, was always at her side. Then one day, her mummy and daddy died suddenly. The princess, too, disappeared, leaving the girl all alone. And the poor little girl was sent away to a strange house. At her new home, the Aristocrat Club lived by the rule of Rose, but the girl found herself very much alone. Until she discovered a wonderful new friend, the girl and her companion obeyed the rule of Rose, for in the Aristocrat Club, the rule of Rose was absolute, as was the word of the Princess of the Red Rose. The girl obeyed the rule of Rose, but the Countess refused to like her. The girl obeyed the rule of Rose, but the Baroness punished her still. The girl obeyed the rule of Rose, but the Duchess taunted her anew. And yet, the girl and her friends were still faithful to the rule of Rose. The Princess of the Red Rose found this all very dull, and so she issued a rule of Rose for the final time. The girl was to sacrifice her very special friend, and when she did, she became a princess. A lonely little princess burdened by the rule of Rose, the woeful princess put her memories under lock and key forever and ever. This letter looks familiar. Yes, it's one of the secret letters that Wendy and I traded. 25 March from W to J. My dear Jennifer, there is nothing to fear. I am always by your side. I will never betray you. We made an oath, remember? 25 July from W to J. My dear Jennifer, I'm so relieved that you are well again. Is that why I couldn't find you yesterday morning? It's no use trying to fool me. I can see right through your pranks. Anyway, thanks in advance. Tee-hee-hee. Did she actually write out tee-hee-hee? 24 August from W to J. Jennifer, thank you for introducing me to Brown, but such a filthy dog is not a good match for you and me. Just give it to Nicholas or something, and let's be content with just the two of us. 10 September from W to J. My stubborn Jennifer. Is Brown that important to you? It's just a dog, a filthy animal. Please stop sharing your wonderful smile with that thing. Please smile only at me. 1 October from W to J. Jennifer the Heartless. Why didn't you come? I waited and waited for you. Why can't I see you every morning? I think only of you. Are you avoiding me? Wendy, you were always so lonely. Poor, lonely Wendy. I wonder if my letters ever reached her. I spent so much time in this room. Who knows how many times I woke up here. The nights were lonely and cold, but you'd always greet me in the morning. Only you greeted me warmly. Thank you so. It's the detested rubbish bin. No one ever suspected that something precious was hidden inside it. Nor did they know that it was the only place where I could keep my things safe. Yeah, but what if they accidentally threw it away? That doesn't seem very effective to me. It feels as if something very dear to me was here. Someone or something that always looked after me, helped me. Tied to this pillar, unable to move, I was all alone. It took a while, but I finally freed myself. I was always the slowpoke. But that won't happen again. I'll never let myself be tied up again. When I came here, this suitcase was the only luggage I had. I lost everything in the accident. My mother, my father, all my possessions, and even my memories. This is where the game actually starts explaining stuff to you. And then that's why you go back through the game and play it again and you understand what everything means. Not that the game explains everything to you, because it doesn't. A lot of it's left up to theory. There used to be a picture here of everyone at the orphanage. It was a picture filled with hope taken the day I was brought here. I was afraid someone would try to steal this precious memory from me. So I took the picture down and kept it safe. I don't think it was that big. You cannot find anyone here. It's just supposed to be her going through her memories. The atmosphere is really good. And no, they don't actually explain what happens with Clara, because I don't think Jennifer actually understood it herself. Peter the rabbit. He was the pet that Wendy suddenly decided to take care of. It was about the same time I started looking after Brown. I wonder if Wendy really loved Peter. Was she sad when she had to give him up? This letter looks familiar. Yes, it's one of the secret letters that Wendy and I traded. 16 November, Dear Wendy, my visitor in the window. Thank you so much for writing to me. The man calls me Joshua, but my name is Jennifer. I've been in this room ever since he saved me. He's a nice person, but he won't let me leave. 10 December, from J to W. Thank you, Wendy. I want to fly away from this room and run away with you in the fields, but the man is so lonely, so sad. I can't just leave him alone. 14 January, from J to W. Thank you, Wendy, my kind and fair princess. Is there something that I can do for you? 24 January, from J to W. I, Jennifer, pledge to the fair Princess Wendy. Everlasting true love, I am yours. 20 March, from J to W. Wendy, I'm here now, but I'm kind of afraid. Everything is new to me. I'm worried if I'll get along with everyone. 22 July, from J to W. Dear Wendy, I have great news. I found something wonderful. I look forward to every morning now, and I hope you will too. 13 August, from J to W. How are you, Wendy? You haven't said anything to me since I showed you the surprise. Do you like my cute little puppy Brown? Let's take care of him together. 20 August, from J to W. My dear Wendy, this little guy is just so adorable. When I call his name, he comes bounding to me. I know you'll like him too. 24 September from J to W. How are you doing, Wendy? Are you alright? We'll always be friends, and Brown can be our friend too. I know you don't understand, but I can't just abandon him. 6 October from J to W. You've got it all wrong, Wendy. This isn't how it's supposed to be. I never expected you to react this way. All I wanted was for us to live happily ever after together. 31st January from W to J. My dear Prince, yes, you are my prince. A prince and a princess must be together after all. Jennifer, you are my eternal companion. Just promise to stay by my side and save your smiles for me. That's all I ask. We don't need a filthy dog. We can't let anyone come between us. 28th November from W to J. You still have that filthy dog? I'll never forgive you. Have you forgotten your oath, the rule of Rose? Goodbye, Jennifer. You will regret choosing that dog over me. Clara was a quiet person. To me, she looked like just another student at the orphanage. Except when she spoke to Mr. Hoffman or Martha, then she looked scary. I wonder if I'll be like Clara when I'm older. Will I enjoy those days? The red bird in the cage, the doll Eleanor treasured. So it wasn't a real bird. If only we could fly like birds and go wherever we wished, she whispered softly. Yet, no matter how much Eleanor wished, she'll never be able to just fly away from this orphanage. Poor Eleanor. She was burdened by her own frozen heart.
Jennifer?
A mermaid doll. What a proud and pure creature. Diana yearned to become a beautiful lady like the mermaid. But as she grew older, she realized that she was straying further and further from her ideal self. Poor Diana. She was trapped by her own ideals. The night was quiet, dark, and scary. Yet it was a mysterious time that aroused excitement. Some nights we'd stay awake in secret, hiding from the teacher and draw pictures by lamplight. It made us feel very much like adults, something not possible during the day. it's a stuffed goat, the white goat Mary, the black goat Sally. When Meg found her letter to Diana torn apart, she was deeply wounded and cried in Diana's arms. Even though she was the one who ripped it up, and when Meg's notebook was found all scattered about, Diana made fun of her, saying Mary and Sally must have ate it. Poor Meg. She was bound by the shackles of foolish devotion. She's getting very poetic now. The future that people dreamt of never came, and was soon forgotten. From the blue skies of hope, it sank into the depths of oblivion. The new life born from it was an existence devoid of hope. It slowly wriggles its large body and stares at the sky with a remorseful look. That's its only purpose. I guess I can say, like, you know how I said that the airship was based off of a real airship? That was the R-101, which was pretty much the Hindenburg disaster, except it wasn't as big as the Hindenburg. And after that happened, England essentially said, okay, the age of airships is over. We don't want anything like this to happen again. So we're gonna give up on it. And then Germany was like, okay, but the Hindenburg, though. And the same thing happened. I'm not gonna look at anyone except the princesses, because otherwise I'll be here forever. I want to find the kitchen. That's all I want to find. There are a couple of letters here. It's a letter from the police. 20 October 1930, re Mr. Gregory Wilson. Dear ma'am, please forgive the delay in our response. In your letter, you reported suspicious activity on the part of Mr. Gregory Wilson. After investigating the matter, we have come to the following conclusion. There is little to indicate that the said individual is connected to the recent kidnappings. Mr. Wilson is father to a son who closely matches the description in your letter. Therefore, we have determined that there is insufficient evidence to warrant further investigation. We appreciate your cooperation and understanding in this matter. Anthony Doolittle, Cardington Police. It's a letter from Martha. 24 November, Officer Doolittle. My name is Martha Carroll, and I work at the Rose Garden Orphanage. In the past month, I have sent 6 letters to your attention, but have yet to receive a response. Have my letters reached you? I ask that you please investigate this matter at once for the safety of our children. Yesterday, I saw them together again, Mr. Wilson and Wendy, a child at our orphanage. I am very concerned for her safety. The two of them have been acting quite strangely. Oh, it's terribly odd. By strangely, I mean Mr. Wilson walking on all fours and nodding, and Wendy appears to be scolding him. I don't know how to explain it, except that it resembled dog training gone wrong. Ooh, it gives me the shivers just thinking about it. Please come investigate this matter as... The letter ends there. Perhaps if the matter had been addressed publicly, things wouldn't have turned out as they did. Adults are so selfish. It all started here when I dug up the mound. I sensed that something precious to me was buried here, and I couldn't stop myself. The old me, the one who didn't understand herself, I lost my friend because of her. If I could go back, I'd try to save him. But what has happened can never be undone. I'll never break a promise again. I know you're in a very stinky place, because that rag Diana put to my face smelled just awful. But no matter how clever or fast you are, there's no escaping. You're like a mermaid in captivity, adapting to a new reality, leaving your home behind. Did you find happiness? The book is open. 2nd March 1930. Recently, the children have been engaging in odd activities and spreading disturbing rumors about creatures that come after children who don't clean up and stray dogs that kidnap small tots. It's all very bizarre. 16 August 1930. Today I was busy catching up on my work when Clara came by to offer me a hand. I guess my teaching paid off. I was grateful for her kindness. In the wee hours of the morning, she was still working, so I gently took her to bed. I can hardly believe it. My little Clara, bless her heart, is already 16 years old. She tells me she wants to stay at the orphanage and help with the daily chores. Maybe I should seriously consider the offer. Tomorrow, I'll discuss it with Martha. At the time, it seemed so frightening. Were those scary things that attacked me just figments of my imagination? 24 August 1930. This is simply inexcusable. My precious koi is gone. The children must be responsible. I won't stand for this. Where is Diana? What's she been up to? My opinion of her will suffer because of this. The diary continues, but the last page is particularly interesting. It's Mr. Hoffman's last entry before he disappeared. 11 November 1930. I'm leaving the orphanage. Claire is here to look after things, and the children are quickly growing up. I've done right and fulfilled my duty. Bloody hell. All the trouble started when that wretched child arrived. I've done nothing to deserve this. That's the end of the diary. We never saw Mr. Hoffman again. I hope he was murdered. I mean, he probably was, but... There's a strange... Because I think that, like he states there, I'm running away, but then the rest of the stuff in the game suggests that he was murdered by the kids. Okay, I think that's all I want to look at now. Stick around for the long play and then I'll show you everything. The spooky things. They sweep away everything that's dirty, including disobedient children. It was a scary story that started as a rumor and spread like wildfire. One day, Mr. Hoffman suddenly disappeared. Clara and Miss Martha soon followed, leaving me and the other orphans alone. I think Clara probably ran away. I mean, I hope she did. I don't think there's definitely a lot of evidence in the game to suggest that Hoffman and Martha were murdered. There's no evidence to suggest that Clara was, really, unless you like really reach with the whole mermaid princess thing. But I think most likely she ran away. I'm not supposed to be talking about theories. I do not hate Wendy or Diana or any of the kids because they were all victims of their own circumstances and they are children. Actually, you know what? Let me read an analysis. Because, okay, so people like to compare this game to Lord of the Flies a lot, and that's actually accurate. And I'm surprised by its accuracy because it seems like such a funny joke to make, like, oh, this game is basically just Lord of the Flies, but it is. It shares a lot of similarities. So I made a post a while ago that said, like, that was in response to the claims that they were going to make an all-female Lord of the Flies, which, well, you can read a bunch of stuff on it about how, like, that wouldn't work because the Lord of the Flies definitely has to do a lot with, well, I mean, you can read an analysis, but they did it way differently in this game, and it works even though most of the characters are female. So I said an all-female Lord of the Flies already exists, and it's called Rule of Rose. And then Rule of Rose Garden, which is a Tumblr blog, wrote a really great response that's so interesting, and it said, I'd argue the effect is parallel, but the cause is different. Lord of the Flies shows us the idea of school children who, in the absence of adults and rules, create their own that make the most sense to them. They need order yet lack the reasoning and empathy the adults and the system they were instilled in them. Essentially, they turn to savages, become cruel and unempathetic once they leave the system. Although they always had the ability to be like that within them, the system and adults kept them docile. In Rule of Rose, they are within the system, and it is a direct cause for their behavior. They act as the adults and world around them taught them to. All the adults they're exposed to are abusive. The system they live within is classist, so their own behavior is the same. It's because these adults are in their lives that they act the way they do. If it weren't for Hoffman's sexual abuse, Diana would not suffer hypersexuality or be so cruel, and Clara would not be so timid and shaky. If it weren't for them being abandoned or by losing their parents very young, and the system failing them by sending them to a huge decrepit orphanage, none of that cruelty would have happened. What's so special and sad about Rule of Rose is it shows how well abuse cycles work, and ways in which society and adults can hurt and victimize children, and the results thereof. We can see why the kids are the way they are, and it's the people who were supposed to protect them who have blood on their hands. I pretty much agree with all of that. The only thing that's a little iffy is the whole Diana's hypersexuality thing, which is definitely something that a lot of people interpret from her, but it's mainly from how Hoffman was grooming her, and it's just kind of a reach. It's just based, I think it's based around, like, the way she pulls her skirt up really high when she curtsies. But anyway, that's enough analysis for now. I just wanted to read that because it was really good, and, well, it wasn't even my analysis. And I don't even disagree with the whole hypersexuality thing. I'm just saying, like, it's something that's not explicitly said within game.
Jennifer, where are you going? Please, don't leave me.
please wait for me. I'll be there. My dear friend, I never want to lose you again. I'll protect you forever and ever until I die. Everlasting true love, I am yours. I'll protect you forever and ever until I die. Alright, so that was Rule of Rose, my spoiler-free walkthrough. It was really hard getting through it without talking about everything because I have so many thoughts on this series. This is a game I've been playing since I was like 14 years old, and in school, I never wanted to read any kinds of like books or anything, because honestly, like the only good books they have you read in school are Frankenstein, Lord of the Flies. That's very fitting, and Dracula. Oh, and now they have people read the Hunger Games, and that's good too. But all I wanted to do, like, teachers would always be like, oh, please write me an essay about how Catcher in the Rye is good, actually, even though it really sucks ass. Let's just say men have made a lot of bad art. This is not bad art, though. I love Rule of Rose. It's honestly one of the best examples of a video game as an art form. People like to use BioShock for that, and I like BioShock too, but well, I like this game even more. It's honestly, it's probably one of my favorite horror games, maybe even one of my top 10 games, just because I wouldn't say, like, overall, it's a really... You know what? Honestly, I think the combat it's terrible, but it's not a huge part of the game. There are very short sequences where you have to do combat, and like once you get the hang of it, it's super easy. Just look for more food if you're having trouble. It's definitely, and like games like this where like there are a lot of indie games today that are very artsy and used to like up to interpretation, but this is a AAA game, I guess, by definition. No, but recording engineer Naruto? What? What? Naruto did the recording. Okay. The music in this game is great. The graphics are amazing. I have lots and lots of thoughts to say about this game, but it's going to have to wait till the long play. So, I will see you then, and I hope you enjoyed.
Just as innocent as roses in May, it is pure white, just like sea.
Okay. The end is shaped like a 4-leaf clover, so this unlocks the costume room.